Everyone's been having fun with their top 25 in the last 25, and we wanted in on the fun. Best 25 draft prospects as their draft prospects of the last 25 years coming up next. Let's party. Welcome to another episode of the No Ceilings Podcast. I'm Tyler Metcalf, joined as always by Tyler Rucker. Rucker, how are we doing?
Metcalf, I'm doing fantastic now. I'm starting to realize that I need the No Ceilings pod more than ever every week. This is going to be like therapy for us, but doing great. I think this is an episode that really I'm jacked up for. Feel like an episode comes around once in a while that you really just you're like, hey, this one might go down in history. No, I'm kidding, folks. But great idea from you. Really pumped for this. How are you doing, sir?
A little terrified of this episode. I thought it was going to be an easy one. Like, oh, hey, let's make a list. This will be fine. And then you make the list, and it's a nightmare in the best way possible. But, as all the TV show or TV podcasts and movie podcasts and, every podcast that I listen to, it's, we're 2025 and everyone's doing their top 25 of X in the last century. And I figured, why not? It's August. Let's have some fun with it and remind some people of how good basketball has gotten over the last 25 years. So I was like, hey, let's look at the top 25 prospects of the century. So we're looking at the '01 draft to the 2025 draft. We're not looking at the 2000 draft because that season was 1999 to 2000. We're only staying in the 2000s, 2000 to 2001 season. And again, we're looking at these guys as just draft prospects. We're trying to remove as much hindsight and how their NBA career went. So when we talk about Greg Oden on here eventually, we know that his NBA career didn't pan out like we hoped it would. Injuries played a factor. Doesn't mean he wasn't an insane draft prospect coming out. So we each compiled a list of our top 25, and then we're just going to kind of argue back and forth and build out a combined list together.
I think we have to say it again, and I know everyone's going to roll their eyes, but as prospects, not as NBA players. A lot of these guys were incredible prospects that didn't pan out as NBA players. A lot of these guys that were solid prospects that became Hall of Famers or future Hall of Famers. So it's a really tough exercise
Yeah.
because you can rattle off a lot, like probably about 6 or 7 pretty quick where you're like, yep, that's easy. Then it gets really tough to kind of be like, well, who was a better prospect? And then you're going back and watching that tape, looking those numbers, and then coming out. I can't believe how many times I was looking up, guys' wingspan from when they were measured at the comp. Like it's nuts. So I'm really excited to hear your list because I think it's going to be really different. And this is going to be a fun episode. We're probably going to be, wanting to fight each other and argue a little bit. But I think it's going to make some good discussion. And I'm always one of those like, hey, everyone could have their own opinion and it's fine. But I think this is fun exercise to kind of think about it.
Before we start building out this list together, what were some of the things that you struggled with the most doing this? Because for me personally, it was balancing guys from 20 years ago versus the guys that we've just been in the weeds with, watching everything and consuming every number possible in just the last couple years. And then even like early 2000s before Synergy was around. So we didn't even have film or numbers to go back to, or Bartorvik was around, so good luck running queries on guys from the early 2000s. Not going to work. For me, there's kind of reminding myself of how good some of these guys were compared to the guys who came a generation after them.
I think the toughest thing right away, which is it tough for me and you because I think we're very realistic, but it was like not lying to yourself. Like a lot of these guys turned out to be awesome NBA guys, and you're just like, no, they weren't that special as a prospect. Like one guy I struggled with is like at first glance, I was like, oh, Karl Anthony Towns should be in the mix, and then I was like, well, he wasn't a finished product at all as a prospect. He was just like this upside. Oh my gosh, look at the tools. Didn't have the production. So I think trying to be like, hey, what we know now, was the production there as a prospect? Was it really, or was it still an idea and a guy that just hit the best percentile, the
Yeah.
100th percentile of his outcome? I think that was tough. Going back and trying to like get a refresher of how they were as a prospect. Because also we have to remember some guys physically like mature as they get
Yeah.
older and they weren't ready. Like, no, I did not have Giannis on one of these plays because it just wasn't realistic. But yeah, it's challenging because you get to like the new classes that we're talking about and you're trying to be like, well, I had him high on my board then and I'm familiar. So how do I put this with a guy that I know is going to, be giving a Hall of Fame speech one day? But it's just kind of, I don't know. It made it challenging the deeper you got. What about you with Metcalf?
Yeah, I'm just same.
Yeah.
And just trying to find that balance between old school, current guys. God, that feels wrong saying early 2000s was old school, but we're getting old. But again, kind of like you hinted at there, reiterating again as prospects. So it goes for guys who, quote unquote, busted. I don't classify any of these guys as busts that I'm going to bring up because I don't consider injury issues being a bust. I consider it bad luck. But that also goes, the same for guys like Giannis and Jokic, who turned out to be some of the best players ever. They're not going to make this list either because as prospects, they weren't considered that. This could be a lengthy process. So let's just dive in. We're going to stop bearing the lead. Let's start out with number one. I would be shocked if this wasn't the quickest pick we've ever made. LeBron James.
Yeah. LeBron was pretty much like well, I got one done.
Yeah. I'm one of the rare guys who was really hyped up to be the second coming and lived up to every bit of it and then some. The number one pick in 2003 from St. Vincent St. Mary High School. Freak. Just I remember growing up and his games being plastered all over ESPN, him being plastered all over every magazine cover, and I'm like, God, I hate this guy. Before it even happened, I was just like, oh, I can't stand it. I hate all of this media circus. He's not even gonna be that good. He's overrated. Turns out 11-year-old me had no idea what he was talking about because man, he rocked. And even going back and watching some of his high school stuff, incredibly fun.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up because whenever you get some prospect gets overhyped as like a high schooler, outlets do not shy away from it. So they shove it down your throats and it's so like everyone's like, gosh, just stop talking about him. So I remember watching him for like the first time when he was in high school and I was like, oh yeah, he's legit. He's legit. This is awesome. It's just, his high school numbers ridiculous. Every year they're like eye-opening. I'm going off of a career high school average of 25, 7.9, 5 assists, and 55.8 from the field for his career in high school. He was a monster. And then I forget the big game, but it was the one that was like on ESPN that I feel like if you're a basketball fan or followed the NBA, you were watching that high school game.
Mm-hmm.
And he delivered. And then it's gonna be one. He is one of the greatest players that has ever stepped on a basketball court. So
yeah, and the fact that he was hyped up as that, and then delivered and surpassed, and withstood all of it without really a blemish on his record anywhere. Insane stuff.
Yeah.
All right, number two. I'm guessing this will be quick too, but maybe not. I'm going Victor Wembanyama.
Okay, I had Victor at 2-2, so
Okay.
we're okay right now.
All right.
I think we're gonna. I feel like we might be a little chalk in like the top 5.
Okay.
And then I feel like it's gonna get gross.
So obviously we've done a ton of Victor coverage over the years. He's, early in his NBA career, everyone's familiar with him. But just to reiterate, why he's at 2, for me, it was because this is really something we've never seen before. That size, that skill, the floor spacing, the defensive stuff, the physical tools, all of it combining into a singular package. You know, obviously, hopefully, health is in his favor for the rest of his career, and he plays 20 years in the league and has an incredible career. But I mean, he looks like he's living up to it when he's out there, and it was just a package of skills and traits that we've never really seen.
Yeah, I think it's unbelievable putting Victor when you start thinking of all of these names he's going to be ahead of, but it's realistic, and like you said, Metcalf, it's the game, it was the versatility, it was the size, it was the fluidity, it was someone that was doing stuff that has never done this at that with those measurements, and then you paired that with the defensive potential. It was like this is we're still looking at Victor as this way. Like this is potentially the next guy. Once LeBron's gone, like we might be just all zeroing in on Victor and being like, it's going to be unbelievable. He's
Yeah.
going to be dominant for years to come. So I think it was pretty easy with the first two. Because I was like, well, one, it's unfair to say this for Victor. There was like a slight hesitation with me of like, would Victor be higher because of the height and length? And then I was like, well, LeBron was 6'8", freight train muscle.
Yeah.
And then it was a slight, and I was like, no, this is LeBron James we're talking about. And he was just another guy that moved that you didn't see guys move like that with the size, power, strength. So I think it just points out, like, I think sometimes we get obsessed with physical like measurements and like the physical profile. But when you see it and it's different than what you've ever seen, that's when I think it's like, you need to make note of this. Like he does things that you don't see. It's a rare combination.
All right. At 3, I'm going to throw out Anthony Davis.
You had Anthony Davis? My internet keeps cutting out. It's so much fun.
I
had Anthony Davis. We're 3 for 3. This is unbelievable.
Wow,
we did not share these, folks.
I promise, folks, it will get ugly.
It's
Anthony
unbelievable how many times people forget his college numbers. Metcalf. Go ahead. Sorry, I cut you off.
No, just so number 1 pick in 2012 out of Kentucky on a Kentucky team that went 38-2. And it wasn't exactly a loaded team. I mean, obviously they had a bunch of highly rated high school recruits, but when I read through some of these names, there's some solid players, but he's really the only one who exploded in the NBA in a big way. Duran Lamb, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, Terrence Jones, Marquise Teague, Darius Miller, Kyle Wilter. And that's about it. So some nice college players in there. Is a good team, but when we look at his individual numbers and accolades, and he's one of, if not the best college defenders ever. Since 2008, he's one of 2 freshmen with an effective field goal rate over 60, an offensive rebounding rate over 10, a defensive rebounding rate over 20, a block rate over 11, and a steal rate over 2. The other one is Joel Embiid. On top of that, he ranked in the 99th percentile in overall points per possession, the 96th percentile on cuts, 92nd on offensive rebound putbacks, 75th as a roll man, 99th percentile at the rim, second freshman ever to win the Naismith Player of the Year, second highest BPM for a freshman since 2008.
He averaged 14, 10, and almost 5 blocks a game, and he was around 6'10" with a 7'5.5" wingspan. It was like one of the best prospects ever. Like, no disrespect to everybody else, but like LeBron and Victor were pretty easy, and I was like, Anthony Davis has to be in my top 5 no matter what.
Yeah.
And I just think people forget what a machine he was at Kentucky. Like, he was a monster. So
he's the best college player I can remember watching.
That's a good debate. And I think everyone will lean towards some other names on this list, but you're like, no, you have to remember Anthony Davis, like how good and dominant he was. So it was an easy one. I didn't know he had that big of a wingspan until I looked it up, and I was like, oh, that would have made it even more sweet. I thought it was gonna be like, 7 foot, 7'1". I was like, 7'5.5". That's good.
Yeah, not bad. Okay. Number 4. This is a guy I considered at 3, but I'm going to throw out Kevin Durant.
All right, I had KD too.
Oh,
I swear.
Goodness.
Okay. 4.
Kevin Durant, second overall pick, 2007, out of Texas. when we talk about things that we've never really seen before, I think he fits that bill. Being almost at the time, what, 6'10", 6'11", 7 feet tall, whatever you want to put him at, handling the way he did, creating shots the way he did, shooting the way he did. We'd never really seen that at that type of level before. Averaged 25.8 points, 11.1 rebounds, 1.3 assists, 1.9 blocks, 1.9 steals on 47, 40, 82 shooting splits, 83rd percentile overall points per possession, 71st percentile in isolation, first freshman ever to win the Naismith Player of the Year. The only reason that I put him below Anthony Davis on my list was that I really remember the hand wringing about how weak he was at the time and how he couldn't even like do a rep on the bench. And with Anthony Davis there wasn't really any of that concern.
I had spent the off season, if we even want to call it an off season anymore. I spent the downtime in the NBA off season in the draft cycle watching old guys, old stars, like what they looked like in college, to just kind of pick my mind apart and strengthen it. And KD was one of those guys I watched. And watching his stuff, Metcalf, I was like, oh my gosh. And I was a big Greg Oden at one guy. I still think he should have been the pick. I think he would have been unbelievable if injuries didn't ruin his career. We're going to probably talk about him soon. But watching KD, I was like, oh my gosh. One, he's like number one on my list of guys you go look up college stats and don't realize how impressive they were when it's 25 and 11 and everyone was saying he's too skinny. His college film is awesome because he really was a bully on the boards. He was nasty, and then you watch him and you're like, he's been doing this stuff his whole career. Like that's a move I've seen 400 times at least in a season. So man, he rocked. He's unbelievable, and I will echo that. I remember everyone freaking out about his strength. They're like, he can't do a bench press. And I was like, who cares? Like, he's averaging almost 30 a game and he's 6'10. But yeah, that's a good one. You just kind of set off signs in my brain. I was like, oh, I remember that bench press comment.
Yeah.
It was funny. That's an all timer.
Okay. At 5.
This is where it gets nuts.
This is where I think it gets spicy. Who do you have? Or who do you want to throw out there? I had Luka too.
Okay.
Oh, God damn it.
No, I guarantee you we're not going to get past 5. I think the top 5, this is, I think I texted you when we were doing this and I was like, you can get to like 7 and I think you're pretty confident. And then you get punched in the face viciously. So like I had Luka a little higher and then I started like going into other, I was like, oh, I have to have KD up there. And then I was like, KD is probably looking at his numbers and watching his film. I'm a little biased right now because I was like, that's fresh on him. But I also watched Luka this offseason, and gosh, he was really good.
He's since I've been producing content in the draft space, he's the best guy I've ever scouted. Best prospect I've ever scouted.
He would be the best international prospect probably if it wasn't for Victor. He probably has
aside from Victor, yes.
Yeah, he has the best resume of maybe any prospect we will ever see. There's one that I was shocked reading, so we'll talk about that later, and maybe in the bloopers or whatever. But Luka's, I went back and watched his stuff, and I was just like, how do you pass this guy? He was quicker. He was awesome. He was doing the same stuff.
EuroLeague MVP as a teenager, pretty much anything you could win over there, he won. He's focal point of the team as a teenager, running the show, playing off ball. Like you said, he was quicker. He's a little more athletic. Obviously, got a little hefty last couple of years. But I think a lot of that is also a testament to his strength and how he's able to get to his spots, but also just he had to, maybe not as much as he did, but he had to bulk up a lot because of how physical he plays, because of how demanding his on-ball reps are. And it's like, all right, well, what if we scale some of those back? And I know that was kind of the hope with the Kyrie acquisition and pairing them together of, if we scale some of this back, can we get a little more activity in the other areas from him? But even going back to his Real Madrid tape, he's third pick in 2018. Um, Even going back to his Real Madrid tape, there's all of that same pick and roll playmaking manipulation stuff that we see now with even more off ball cutting and shooting and running in transition. He was awesome.
He was awesome. And then you go back and, his playmaking was even more, you know, like blown up. Like it was more spicy. He had some passes that were just like biggest, like FU passes, just like because he was just in the zone. And I understand if he went like third, if he was like 6'4", but he was like 6'7", like
Yeah.
stocky, like for a young player. So I think we're gonna look, and I think this year's gonna be that version. I think he's gonna have a revenge tour this year, and he's gonna look like the prospect one, the quicker, slimmer, more explosive.
Okay, to recap, real quick, top five. We went LeBron, Victor, Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant, Luka Doncic. Coincidentally, we had identical top fives. Moving on to six. This is where I think it gets very different. I had Cooper Flag.
Wow, gloves are off, folks. Okay, I had Greg Oden.
Okay.
I had Cooper at 7, so
Okay.
I'm not
So
too extreme.
So my reasoning for Cooper, highest BPM of any freshman with the usage over 30, third highest BPM for any freshman when you remove the usage restriction. That'd be only behind Zion and Anthony Davis. Only freshman since 2008 with a usage over 30, defensive rebound rate over 20, assist rate over 20, block rate over 4, steal rate over 2. Just to kind of highlight, he had a ton of usage on offense and then did a little bit of everything else at a really high level. Any other names that you would consider at 6, if not Cooper?
Greg Oden. No, I'm kidding.
So I have Oden at 11.
Cooper's tough because I'm trying not to be too biased of the recent.
Yeah.
And I really took that into consideration for everyone listening. We love you. I really took that into consideration making this list because I was like, I'm going to want Cooper to be high because I just scouted him. So I was like, I have to throw that out of the table and look at these guys as prospects. Like, how quickly would I take Cooper Flag? I could do 6. Oden just continued to be a guy that I always thought was even more dominant than his numbers. Like in college, I thought his numbers were good. I thought he was more dominant than his numbers showed at college. And I really think he would have been an absolute monster if he didn't get hurt so much at the NBA level, because he was one of those bigs that didn't just produce and was a good shot blocker. He impacted everything the offense tried to do because he was such a space eater, and he was physical, he was tough, he was nasty, and very skilled with both hands. So that's why I had Oden high, but
So
I could go Flag here.
Who do you have at 8?
Zion.
Okay, I have Zion at 9.
Okay, well let's I could do Cooper. Let's do Cooper because I don't want it, because then we're going to be starting to put this together way low. So let's go Cooper 6. Who did you have at 7?
I had Carmelo.
Okay, so now we're getting interesting. Okay, because I have Carmelo at 9.
Okay.
Here, just give me your top 10, and now we're off the rails. See, I told everyone this is going to get nuts. Give me your top 10, and then we'll argue this. So I have, I had Greg Oden at 6, Cooper Flag at 7, Zion at 8, Carmelo at 9, and someone I think I'm going to probably fight you on is Dwight Howard at 10.
Okay, I had Dwight at 16.
Okay, so then we're going to fight. It's okay. Give me your 10.
So I had Cooper at 6, Carmelo at 7, Michael Beasley at 8, Zion Williamson at 9, Yao Ming at 10.
Beasley late, but Beasley's so tough because people will hear that and be like, "What are you talking about?" And it's like, "Oh man, you forget Kansas State, Michael Beasley."
Insane. 26.2 points, 12.4 rebounds, led the country in scoring and rebounds per game, 4th highest BPM of a freshman since 2008.
I get it. I just
No, I know.
Beasley was freshman. Okay,
Yeah,
and
no, he was a
then
freshman, and he went second behind Derrick Rose. That was a fun draft.
who went first?
Derrick Rose.
Rose, yeah, I have Rose. Okay, I'll go. We'll go flag 6. We
So
confirmed that.
you have Zion at 7?
I have Zion at 8.
8.
Who did you have at 7?
Oh, you had Odin at 6.
I had Odin at 6. Carmelo's okay. So this is where I get off the rails. I made my top 25, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh yeah, I have to get a couple more guys from the class. So I'm piecing it together. I have Carmelo at 9. Carmelo could have been 6 to me because he was just a bucket getting machine. So if you feel great about Carmelo at 7, we can talk.
What if we do Zion at 7?
Here's my thing: is every time I put Zion somewhere, I think I'm too low. Zion was. We've never seen people move like that.
No.
I talked about that with the top 2 guys. We've never seen power, strength. He floated at a size that was like, this doesn't make sense. So the prospect Zion, I feel like has to be up there.
Agree.
So I could live at 7.
Since 08, highest BPM of any freshman at 18.7. Anthony Davis was second at 16.7. Sign he cleared him. Obviously it's just one metric, but it tends to do a pretty good job of encapsulating everything. And the hype with him was insane. The impact, the highlight reels, the versatility. Obviously, there were questions about the weight and the outside shot, but the way that he impacted a game was singular that year. I'd be okay with Zion at 7.
Gosh, Carmelo at 22 and 10 is something I always forget.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now let me ask you a question. And we're just sidebarring here. If a prospect won the title, are we weighing that at all?
Does winning matter to you?
It matters to me, but that's what I'm trying to say. This is good. This is good. 4-hour podcast.
It's another data point whereas a prospect we'll get to later did not come close to winning a title, but yet is still going to be on this list.
Okay. Can we really go back-to-back Duke guys? I could go Carmelo at 7. Does Carmelo at 7 make it because he won it? 22 and 10 is ridiculous. It's a freshman.
Yeah. So is everything Zion did.
I could go. Okay, I'll go. Zion.
I have like this chunk of guys all in like the same general tier, so I can be swayed pretty easily any direction.
I just can't believe Carmelo's resume is so impressive. He was also Big East, like when Big East was nasty.
Mm-hmm.
Let's give me Carmelo. I love Melo. Melo Zion.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So Carmelo at 7, Zion at 8. Yeah, I mean, Carmelo was all Big East first team, all Big East all freshman, all Big East rookie of the year, consensus All-American, freshman of the year, all Big East tournament, first team, NCAA all tournament regional team, most outstanding tournament player.
You know what? In my head was the thing with Zion is Zion had games where you were kind of like, hey, I'm waiting for you to get going.
Yeah.
I feel like Melo was just always like, oh man, he's a bad dude. He had in the Final Four against Texas, he had 33 and 14 with 3 steals on 12 of 19. Pretty nice. 6 of 7 from the line. I just feel like Melo was one of those just, gosh, he's a bucket. Okay, that's fine. I'll do it. Now we're at 9. Okay, so we're LeBron, Victor, Anthony
Yeah,
Davis, Kevin Durant, Luca is our top 5.
correct.
Cooper Flag,
Melo,
Melo, Zion.
Zion.
Okay, I feel good about it. Feel good about it.
Okay.
What are you thinking here? Now, where do you have at 9?
My next couple up, I have Michael Beasley at 8, Yao Ming at 10, Greg Oden at 11, Derrick Rose at 12,
Okay,
Kyrie
so now
Irving at
we're completely off the rails now
Oh yeah.
because this system is just screwed. Okay,
Who are your next 3 up?
my next 3. This I like how you did that. That's why they pay you the little bucks. I love that. That was a good move. My next 3, well,
Okay.
Odin, Dwight, and Tyson Chandler.
Oh, you love you some springy big men.
Dude, we have to also this is a big thing we need to realize too is when you're making this list, you're also having to evaluate how the game was at that time,
Yes.
which is humongous and like important when you're doing this list. Because I'm like, well, Greg Oden now seems like a pretty solid prospect, but the game is probably tough for him. You'd have questions. Greg Oden back then, it was like, oh, franchise.
Like Greg Oden
center.
now is like Johan Berenger. You know, it's
You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, I know.
right now with Yao Ming, we'd be like, is he gonna work? Like, look what just Zach Edey just
Zach
did.
Edey.
We just were like debating it. So it's just the game was so much different with each time. So like that was the most challenging thing. Was what was the game like back then?
Because it has changed.
It has changed a lot. So yeah, I rattled off 3 bigs, but at that time they were monsters.
I'm good with Greg Oden at 9.
I think Oden at 9. If he gets out of the top 10, it seems wrong to me.
Agreed. 15.7 points, 9.6 rebounds, 3.3 blocks. Numbers are fine, but like you said earlier, just the raw impact that he had in every facet, he just changed every single possession that he was on the court. First in the Big Ten and third in the NCAA in defensive win shares as well. Just really, really, really special college player that unfortunately had, was it 2 legs that were different lengths? That caused so many of the knee issues.
And then when he finally got healthy in the NBA, he like started to really put it together and then got hurt. It was like, it seemed like you were holding your breath when he started having good games. You're like, oh no, it's gonna happen.
I feel like he's one of those guys too, where he constantly gets referenced as, oh, if he would have came up in today's era, he would have been skilled enough to operate some on the perimeter and in space too. So obviously we didn't see it then. He wasn't asked to. That's not what the game was.
Right. Okay. To get to number 10. Beasley's tough. I have Beasley lower, so you're gonna have to keep battling with me for Beasley, but I really get it. I get it. He was a monster.
Yeah. I mean, leading the country in scoring and rebounds per game. All Big 12 first team, all Big 12 all freshman, Big 12 player of the year, Big 12 rookie of the year, Wooden Award finalist. And the way that he got to over 26 points per game on 53, 38, 75 shooting splits.
I have him lower. I told you you're gonna have to.
All right,
you're gonna have to just battle with me for it.
I haven't convinced you.
No, I'm not.
I just want the internet to know.
I have Rose high.
I know. I know ball.
We know. But Derrick Rose is literally my next name after the big run I just gave you. So
Derrick Rose is third name for me in my best available. So my next top 3 are Beasley, Yao, Derrick Rose.
I don't know, man.
Your next up are Dwight, Tyson Chandler,
and Rose. Okay. Yao is tough. My next 4, because I have Yao right after Derrick Rose.
Okay.
Every time I think of Yao, I think I have him too low though.
He was a tough one because he falls into that category of something we've never really seen before. In that era of basically everyone doubting any international prospect, And then his NBA career obviously, unfortunately, got plagued by injuries.
It was a bad draft class too.
Yeah.
People were like not wanting, I think it was Golden State at the time, like didn't want the first pick because they were like, oh, we don't want to have to take, we don't want Yao. And then obviously we're gonna have the pressure. It was, trust me, that was the thing. I don't know, because also it was like, well, he's 7'6" and really skilled.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, should that be higher? I could go any direction here.
What is your heart telling you? Make the case for Dwight and Tyson.
My case for Tyson is, I've been
It's
waiting
fun.
hours and days for the case for Tyson. I have notes on the case for Tyson. Okay. Let me remind everybody about Tyson Chandler. Went to high school, came straight out of high school, was getting recruited by everyone. Second overall as a junior in high school, as a junior. He averaged 20.1 points, 11.3 rebounds, 3.2 assists, 4.7 blocks as a junior. As a senior, he averaged 26, 15, and 8 blocks. 26, 15, and 8 blocks. He was a monster that I think people always forget about because Tyson was a really, really good NBA player that played for almost 20 years. Like, but I think people forget, like, he was a bad man in high school. I don't know. I just, as a prospect, like, now we're talking about Tyson Chandler. He didn't average double digits in his NBA career till his 7th year.
Yeah, but and he was always a defensive first guy.
So, but he
would have been insane in today's NBA with the spacing and the rim running he would have provided. And then being able to move like he did in space and defend guys on the perimeter, he would have been an all defensive guy. I think he's one of those guys, those centers from the early 2000s that I think he would have translated more than fine to today's game.
Defensive player of the year and 3-time all defensive team.
Yeah.
Tyson Chandler and NBA champ.
Let's go Tyson Chandler at 10.
Yeah, why not? Shake things up. Maybe I'll make a graphic and someone will be like, what are you talking about? And I'll just send him a screenshot of his.
Just send him the highlight videos of his chin being above the rim on block attempts. Freakish athlete. So just a quick recap here, top 10. At 1, LeBron James, Victor Wembanyama, Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant, Luka Doncic, Cooper Flagg, Carmelo Anthony, Zion Williamson, Greg Oden, Tyson Chandler.
I think the Chandler at 10 is such a great thing. Okay, I'm going to let you nominate the next one.
My next 3 up are Beasley, Yao, Derrick Rose.
I can't go Beasley over Rose for me.
Okay.
So when you get Rose off the board, I can go Beasley.
So Derrick Rose at Memphis was insane. What just made me like, some of his numbers are really pretty underwhelming. Like, obviously insanely athletic, knew how to take over a game, was the real deal, and lived up to it before injuries took unfortunately took their toll. But like, his only outlier stat really was his absurd assist rate at like 30.4, which is a bonkers number, but everything else was just kind of okay.
That Memphis team was fun.
They were.
I think he was so he was a freshman playing with a team of older guys. Chris Douglas Roberts, Antonio Anderson, Joey Dorsey, Robert Dozier, which I just loved him back then. I remember. He was one of 2 guys. Him and Chris Douglas Roberts were the only 2 guys that averaged double-digit points per game. So, like, they still have, but a lot of those guys were, juniors, seniors. Like, so, I don't know. I just remember Rose was like, oh my gosh, this could be the next wave of great point guards. I get it if you're talking about the production aspect of it, because Beasley deserves to be really high up there. I know people are gonna be like, what? But he was just a monster at Kansas State. So I don't know. I just remember
what if we go Rose then Beasley?
Fine.
Okay. God.
That's all I wanted. You could have proposed that 10 minutes ago, and I would have said yes. I would have taken that offer.
Well, here I am trying to find compromise, and you're like,
I
no.
don't blame you. Damn good deal. Okay, so Rose and Beasley.
So Rose at 11, Beasley 12, 13.
And from the same draft class is pretty awesome.
And
Back to back.
Michael Beasley still can't get over that number 2 spot in the draft. Just brutal.
And I love how all NBA players like tell stories now on podcasts, and it just seems like it's always stories about how Beasley's just dominant one-on-one.
Yeah, it's like, who is the toughest guy that you had to guard? Oh, Beasley.
Okay,
13.
Yao?
I can go Yao. He's top.
I had Yao at 13, so this is...
Okay, there we go.
Okay, now we're going to get really ugly.
Yeah, this is...
Okay, so we got through that. Let's go back to one by one so we could try to figure this out. Who did you have at 14?
My next... I have Kyrie at 13.
Is it 13? No, we're 14.
Yeah, I had Tyson lower. So.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. You have Kyrie next?
So Kyrie is my next up.
Can't do it.
Okay.
Is everybody ready for me to get you to scream at the radio or whatever you're listening to? I had Chet at 14.
I had Chet at 15.
Okay.
I'm good. I'm good putting Chet here.
All right, perfect. If anyone wants to talk negative about him as a prospect, oh my gosh. You're dealing with the wrong folks. I've got the education on this one.
He is the best defensive prospect I've ever scouted.
Besides Victor, no. Let me start over. Besides Anthony Davis, I think he's one of the best defensive bigs I've ever evaluated.
Anthony Davis was before I was doing this, actually producing stuff. But yes. He would have been it. But yeah, like since I've actually been doing scouting stuff, Chet Holmgren is the best rim protector I've ever scouted.
Yeah, I agree. Chet was an awesome prospect. He was a 7-foot big man that played unbelievable defense and shot threes and was skilled. I honestly thought, I was like, should I be having Chet higher? Now people are going to be freaking out, but it's like, no, he's good. We need to get those dumbbell videos off the internet, by the way. We got to get them off the internet. I need people to get them off the internet. One of them, I was like, is it AI? Because it had a 28 on the side. And I was like, oh, is that kilograms? I was like, that's not a 28-pound dumbbell. Come on, man. Get those off the internet. Okay, 15. Who do you have? You had Kyrie. Okay.
Kyrie, Cade, Dwight are my next 3.
Kyrie, Cade, Dwight. I could go Dwight.
Okay.
Kyrie's tough for me because he was so skilled, but he just didn't play.
Yeah, and so he had the injury, but in his... How many games did he play? I think
he 11. Was the Derek Williams draft, so it was like you either get Kyrie or you're screwed. That's what everyone's perspective was.
Yeah, so in his 11 games, BPM of 13.9, usage of 27.2, effective field goal rate 61.5, true shooting percentage of 69.7, assist rate of 29.8, steal rate of 3, free throw rate of 68.3, 56.9% from 2, 46.2% from 3 on 7.3 attempts per 100 possessions.
Okay. Fine. Give me Dwight and Kyrie. That's my offer.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, all right.
Talk to me about Dwight.
You know what it was? That was the one where I circled like the game, the way the NBA needed it, and Dwight came in as like the high school guy, but was like physically mature, freak of nature, like dominant big man that bounced, like had crazy athleticism. I just feel like he was the one where you're like, oh man, like Magic fans were like, this is Shaq again. But I think it was just Dwight as a prospect was like, gosh, high schooler is built like this already and his body hasn't matured. So I just always kind of remind myself like Dwight has to be one of the top 20 prospects, right?
He was so... He had no business playing against the kids he was playing against in high school. And number 1 pick, 2004 from Southwest Atlanta Christian High School, and his high school film, it's the personification of physical dominance. It's insane how cut up he is, how bulky he is, how springy he is, how good the hands were, the defensive stuff. And again, another one of these guys where it translated and he really turned into that defensive rim running absolute menace. He had an awesome career and this probably feels like the right range.
One more quick thing about Dwight. I have to throw this in.
Yeah, please.
25, 18, and 8.1 blocks as a senior.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Good Lord.
Okay.
It's just when those bigs in high school were different, they were very different.
Yeah.
They were very different. It was like a, no, I don't want Jalen Dureg getting random slander, but we've done an episode talking about like, hey, the high school bigs that are just more physically, like they'll just bully people. But it's like there's bullying and then there's locking in a closet and torturing.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Where it's like if your entire game is gonna rely on your physical dominance, I need those numbers.
Yes.
I need almost 30, almost 20, and almost 10 as averages. Where if your whole game is physical dominance and you're at 12, 10, and 3, I'm good.
Yeah, I need like a 20-year-old playing with a bunch of kids on a Nerf hoop dominance. Or like a 6-foot hoop and you just don't like I just need it to be like we have to cancel the game. This guy can't be playing. Like my kid's gonna get hurt. So it's just funny when you see some of those guys. Oh, that's why you were right to the NBA.
Okay. And for the youngsters, please go on YouTube, look up Dwight Howard, look up Tyson Chandler, look up their high school stuff because it is incredibly fun. They move like absolute aliens.
It's awesome. When you see an NBA guy in high school like that are like he's ready for the league, they move different. And it's not everyone that's just a star high school player. No, there's clear movement of an NBA guy that you're like, oh, that's a different one. That one's really different. So, okay, well, we went Dwight and then Kyrie.
Yeah, so at 16, we'll go Kyrie.
I'm one off. Who am I? I have Dwight at 4. Or no, we went Chet. There we go. Sorry.
We have different lists. So
okay. Well, I'm trying to keep track too.
Okay. Yeah.
All
So right. I'll recap top 16. At 1, LeBron James. 2, Victor Wembanyama, Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant, Luka Doncic, Cooper Flag, Carmelo Anthony, Zion Williamson, Greg Oden, Tyson Chandler, Derrick Rose, Michael Beasley, Yao Ming, Chet Holmgren, Dwight Howard, Kyrie Irving. At 17, who are your next 3 up?
Sorry, I'm also just trying to check everybody off to be like, okay, let me figure out who's left on my list. My next available was Dwayne Wade.
Ooh, okay. Wade is my second one.
Who was your best available?
I have Cade, Dwayne Wade, then everyone's favorite, Ben Simmons.
That's a good trio. A good trio of argument. Cade is the one that I was really struggling with because I feel like I love Cade. I had Cade at 18, but I love a lot of these guys ahead.
I'm good going with Wade here because that run that he took Marquette on, that is probably because of the age I was at the time, but that Final Four of Marquette versus Kansas and that Kansas team that had Kirk Heinrich, Nick Collison, that I think Marquette got stomped in that game, but they were incredibly fun and dominant, and Wade especially through that run to the Final Four, lost to Kansas, who then lost to Carmelo. He was something else. He was a little older coming into the league, but 21.5 points per game on 50, 32, 78 averages with 6.3 rebounds, 4.4 assists, 2.2 steals, 1.3 blocks. And that was, obviously it was before Marquette was in the Big East. They were Conference USA at the time, but when we talk about NBA movement and athleticism and feel, he had it.
It's a good debate. I'm trying to Yeah, you say you're good with Wade here, or do you want to go?
I could go Wade here. He's number 2 on my best available. Ended up as the 5th pick in '03. One of a few guys that it was shocking did not go number 2 to the Pistons and will haunt me forever, but it's fine. We're fine. We're over it. It's fine. Everything's fine.
The Cade is really bugging me because I thought Cade's freshman year was better than people even realized
Oh god, yeah.
because of
That context.
that roster.
Oh my god.
So like this is a good debate. Like this is a lot closer for me than, and I love Wade. Like Wade was just growing up. Wade was one of my guys. I was just like, I like gravitated towards that playing style of just like junkyard dog, physical, gets downhill, relentless. He was just always going after you. I go, you make the call. I'm good with both. I like them both a lot.
Let's go Wade. We'll
Okay.
have the tiebreaker be the
Okay.
the postseason success.
Yes.
Let's go Wade and then Cade at 18.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay. Man, that sorry to
I had Cade at 18. So it was close, but that was
I had him at 14.
yeah, that was an 18 that I was like, I don't feel good about him down here. I feel like I don't know. Okay.
He dictated everything on that team, and he should have had 8 times the assists that he did if guys would just shoot. It was wild how many wide open threes he would create, and guys wouldn't even look at the rim. How often he would get to get a paint touch, and all 5 defenders would be on him. It was some of the worst spacing I've ever seen.
Yeah, 20.1 points, 6.2 rebounds, 3.5 assists. He probably should have had 6 assists a game that year.
Yeah.
Maybe not
Oh
that
god,
big.
yeah.
Maybe not that big, but
No,
maybe
I think so.
maybe 5. I watched a game where I feel like he threw someone wide open in the corner and they hit the side of the backboard.
Yeah.
This is tough, but yeah, I like Wade first there. That's good. But Cade was awesome. Okay, we're gonna get a little vicious here. So your next available is Ben Simmons.
It is.
My next 2 available are gonna shock you a little bit. It's Blake Griffin and John Wall.
Okay, John Wall did not make my list. He was in my honorable mentions. I have Blake Griffin at 23.
Okay.
The last guys who I ranked in the top 25 are Ben Simmons, Steph Curry, Ricky Rubio, Jay Williams, formerly known as Jason Williams, Blake Griffin, Markelle Fultz, Chris Paul.
Okay. I Simmons, it was for whatever happened in the NBA level, Ben Simmons was an incredible prospect.
Yeah.
He was still 6'10 with playmaking, grab and go, rebounding, and defensive upside despite a shaky shot. People were comparing him to very, very big names.
Like, obviously wrongly, but he was getting LeBron and Magic Johnson comps.
My thing with
Which
Blake,
were ridiculous at the time, just to be clear.
yes, they were incredibly absurd at the time, and they are even more fitting now of how absurd they were.
Yeah.
But he was a bad man. My thing with Blake Griffin is I think we always forget how awesome he was at Oklahoma. He's 18.8 points, 11.8 rebounds. Oh, I'm sorry. That was his career. So as a sophomore, he was 22.7 points, 14.4 rebounds, 2.3 assists, 1.2 blocks, 65% from the field. Everyone's going to complain and be like, well, everything was a dunk. And it's like, yeah, everything was a dunk because he was that powerful and awesome and quick and explosive. He was 6'10", 250 of muscle. I have a soft spot because like I watched games where he was diving into the stands, and I was like, this is going to be the number 1 pick potentially in the draft, and this guy's like risking his shoulder. Young Blake was like Zion with the bounce.
How many dunks do you think he had his sophomore year?
I need a comparison. Whenever you do this, I'm like, well, I don't know a number off the top of my head. Can you give me like someone that's 8th?
No.
Okay. I'm gonna say as a
Who do you want
sophomore,
me to comp him to?
give me a comp to Zion. That's a good one. Just tell me Zion's dunks,
Um,
and if it's higher or lower. I think
one
it's going to be way
second.
higher.
Zion was lower,
Okay, and how many does Zion have?
77.
I think Blake had 120.
He had 92.
No,
But
wow, that's still a
but
very high
that's
number
it's compared to 28 jumpers.
because he just overpowered everybody.
I know.
He was just so dominant, and I think that's why people weren't convinced on him as like a prospect because they were like, he just dunks everything. It's like, yeah, because he's so quick and built.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I just couldn't have Ben Simmons over Blake. But I could do Ben Simmons because I get it. He could be way higher.
I really think you have to remove what's happened.
Yeah,
To
that's
him
what
in the
I'm
pros.
struggling with.
I think
I
Simmons
was like,
has
I'm
to
not
go.
sold on this guy.
I think Simmons would have gone ahead of Blake if they were in the same draft. And they were
Ooh.
both the number one pick in their respective years.
Okay. Is there anyone else in that top 3 that you feel like should be in the mix?
Ricky Rubio, the cult that was surrounding him was insane at the time. Same with Steph Curry. I think people really forget how freaking good Jay Williams was at Duke. Markel Fultz, I could see an argument for. He was insane at Washington, but I feel like there's also a lot of, well, he's just kind of feasting on bad teams narrative. And like, are we sure he's like the real deal? Obviously, injuries and whatever, they did to his shot
I have
changed who
Fultz at
he was as
20.
a player. I have
I have
Fultz at
Fultz.
24.
I think Fultz could have been in the conversation earlier. Fultz was an incredible prospect.
Yeah.
But Ben Simmons was also 6'10".
Yeah.
So that matters. Like Fultz, as good as people thought he was, like Fultz was 5 inches short.
Yeah.
But Fultz could shoot in college. Like he had great numbers. So I could go Ben Simmons. I'll give you this one. You gave me a couple.
Let's go Simmons, then Blake.
Yeah, I'm fine. I can't believe you just very easily threw out like, oh, I didn't have John Wall in my top 25. Like, I feel like that's
He
Kentucky
was.
fans. Here he is. Go find him.
He was, and then I just guys jumped him. He was incredibly fun, but we'll get to him.
Yeah,
And
well,
hey, maybe you convinced me otherwise.
No, it's okay because I've got guys outside my top 25. You're gonna have it probably, and I get the argument. Okay, so we went. Ben,
okay, so to recap, I'll go from the top. 1, LeBron, Victor Wembanyama, Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant, Luka Doncic, Cooper Flag, Carmelo Anthony, Zion Williamson, Greg Oden, Tyson Chandler, Derrick Rose, Michael Beasley, Yao Ming, Chet Holmgren, Dwight Howard. At 16, Kyrie Irving, 17, Dwayne Wade, 18, Cade Cunningham, 19, Ben Simmons, 20, Blake Griffin, 21.
I think this list is coming along pretty well. I've got some ugly names for the rest of this list that you're probably not. This is where we're going to probably be like, what are you talking about? And I'm fine with it.
Hit me.
Okay, so I said my best available are John Wall, Markel Fultz, Beasley, but we took Beasley off the board, correct?
Damn, you had Beasley that low?
Yeah. You know what it was? It was just I loved Rose. So I thought Rose was like a special point guard prospect. And then I was like, well, I can't have Beasley ahead of the guy that went number 1 that I liked the best. This is my wild card. You're not
Okay.
ready for. I have someone in my top 25. I don't think you're expecting. I had LaMarcus Aldridge.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm good.
Wow.
He was awesome at Texas, but meh.
Awesome. He was great. How do you dismiss him that quick?
No. See,
Oh my gosh.
if you would have thrown out Pau Gasol, if you would have thrown out Chris Bosh, I would have entertained those. I probably would have entertained Andrew Bogut, probably.
I have Pau. Pau was like one of my first names that didn't make the cut. What else are you thinking?
And I just have a bunch of point guards left with Steph Curry, Ricky Rubio, Jay Williams, Markelle Fultz, Chris Paul. I can understand Jay Williams not making the list. I thought he was awesome, but he's also a 3-year
really
guy.
Awesome. He was really awesome.
Ended up as the number 2 pick in that 02 draft. I think there are also some more recent guys that I struggled not putting on, like a Paolo Banchero, Scoot Henderson, Anthony Edwards, John Morant, Joel Embiid. I didn't put on. I think if we're just talking upside potential, he would have made it, but there were so many red flags and like real major medical concerns with him. I would say my top 2 right now that I think should make it are Steph and Rubio, but
I just realized I had John Wall twice, so I had to add someone on the fly. I'm sorry. So I had someone at 25, but won't make a difference. I'm the Aldridge one was me getting a little out there, but I mean, he was also still just like a 6, 11, 13 and 8 or 15 and 10 almost guy that averaged 2 blocks a game and was solid. And I watched his stuff, and like at the time the league was post up still, and it was like he was a good guy to feed. So I understand not having him in there. Okay, give me one you feel great about.
Okay, you feel fixated. It seems like you're fixated on John Wall.
No, I'm not. He doesn't need to be that high. We can go anywhere we want.
And so why I struggled with
I think
Wall.
I'm gonna go Fultz.
Fultz? Okay, interesting.
Dude, he was
awesome.
Man.
No, I know. We did his redraft. Was it 2 summers ago? And I remember going through that film and the numbers and all of it. It was all right.
Okay, no, give me who you feel the best about. I'll give you who I feel the best about, and then we'll
because I have Fultz at 24, so he's in both of our. He's on both of our lists right now. I think he's
the funny thing is talking this out. I had Wall higher, so I don't know what's going on right now. But like Fultz, I just continued to feel like it was a guy that I was like, he's too low. He's too low. He was 23, 5 and almost 6 on 47, 41, 64. I understand his team was bad. He was awesome. People will be like, well, what about his NBA stuff? We're not talking about that. We're not talking about, like Metcalf brought up before, freakish injury, unbelievable, incredible freak of nature stuff. He was shooting 41% from 3 on 5 attempts a game. Like he was a beast in college. I think he had all the makings to be a star in the NBA.
Yeah.
It just like he had a beautiful shot at UW. And Wall was still 16, 4 and 6, but you can argue like, well, he had a turnover problem because I think he had like 4 turnovers. So
yeah, he had a lot of turnovers, pretty inefficient.
And who was your best available?
Steph Curry and Ricky Rubio.
Okay, I'll be honest. Steph was a joy to watch as a college player. I didn't have him on my list because that was the one I was like, you're not being realistic with how you felt about him as a prospect. Because everyone was concerned at the time, like, hey, is he skinny? Is he too skinny? That was the Durant thing. Is he too skinny? And then they're like, can he be a point guard or is he just an undersized
Mhm.
2? So in my head, I was like, I can't put Steph because,
That's fine.
but like, he's one of my favorite players I've ever watched in my life.
No, I mean, he was probably the biggest kind of reach or, questionable one that I probably put on here. Ended up as the 7th pick in '09, but and that tournament run they were on, and then you go and look at some of his numbers, and it's just insane stuff. And obviously, some of it's inflated by level of competition, and that was the big question. It's like, all right, he's playing at this tiny school. Yeah, he had a fun tournament run, but is it real? They're not playing anyone. He's tiny. He's skinny. He's got weak ankles. How real is it? And he's one of these outliers where it ended up being very real. Um,
We got to put Steph in. I just looked up his numbers again.
yeah.
Let's just do it. I mean, my list doesn't have to be, but he was unbelievable. Now,
Yeah.
was that a draft in which the league was overthinking?
Oh, I mean, when the Timberwolves took 2 different guys ahead of him, one of them was somewhat excusable at the time, but then
Does your T-Wolves fandom just have PTSD? So you're like, I have to give
see,
Steph
I
respect.
wasn't a Wolves fan at that time.
Oh, you were Pistons.
Yeah, still Pistons. So the
Steph
Dar
played
the
3
Darko
years.
Milicic pain was still alive and well.
Steph averaged more than 20 points per game every year in college.
Yeah. Yeah, he had an assist rate his junior year of 39.8.
Wow.
That's a lot. That's
25.9 points per game as a sophomore, 4.6 rebounds, 2.9 assists. His junior year, then he goes from 2.9 assists to 5.6. And he averaged 28, 4, and almost 6 a game.
Yeah.
Wow. On 45% from the field on 20 attempts a game is pretty ridiculous. We gotta have him in the top.
All right. Do
I
you
think
want
if
him
the
at 22 or do you want him at 25?
I don't know, he rocks. Let's have him at 22. Okay.
All right. Steph
We're off
Curry.
the rails.
All right. We got 3 more spots to fill.
We're at 20. My numbers are all
We're at
messed up.
23.
And we didn't do John Wall or Fultz.
Fultz is at 21.
Thank you. That's why I was off. Okay, Fultz, Steph. We'll get John Wall out of here.
We can throw him in there
because I want to hear who's left for you. I have Chris Paul and Jabari Parker as the end of my 25.
I have Chris Paul at 25. I think he was listed at 6 foot 175 his sophomore year. So I'm okay leaving him out, I guess. But the way he commanded an offense and just that true, and he's called the point guard for a reason. His Wake Forest stuff is really fun, but he also wasn't a sure thing by any means.
I think this is going to be the most fun part of the whole thing because I've got a bunch of guys that were right on the border for me. I have a feeling you do too. So we could kind of just go to quote free agency, see like who do we like best because we were disagreeing on some guys. Chris Paul made my top 25. He would have been higher, but every time I go look at that list, I'm like, Deron Williams, you could have argued was a better prospect in that draft because he was bigger.
Yeah.
But
I think he also benefited from
that
tournament run.
Yes, exactly. So he benefited from that. So I don't know. I still had Chris Paul there because I was like, it's still like he was the typical point guard. You were just like, this is great. Jabari Parker I had just because like, dude was awesome. Another health guy. Like he was so nice.
I had Jabari and Wiggins on my list at one point, and then they got bumped. Do you want can I interest you in some Pau Gasol, who had
yes, go for it.
Just his accolades and recognition at Barcelona was it was insane. Now going back and trying to find film on him from then was almost impossible. But his Barcelona stuff was really, really impressive.
We always talk about Luka as oh my gosh, the resume.
Mm-hmm.
Why I love doing this exercise is because you realize, like, oh, there was guys with resumes that were like just as insane, and Powell was one of those I was not expecting, and like freakish international resume.
Yeah.
Um, like it's trying to even figure. There's so much to look at, but like EuroLeague second team, Spanish Kings Cup winner, Spanish Kings Cup MVP, ACB Finals MVP, and then he added like 45 more awards internationally after he was in the league. But like there was just a lot of stuff. You're like, oh my gosh, you know, like so. I think that Powell is a good one.
Okay.
People forget he went, you know, third overall. Sometimes you have to remind yourself.
Number 3 overall. So we got 2 guys from that 01 draft in this. I love that. Sorry,
That
Kwame.
is great. Yeah, sorry, Kwame.
All right, 24.
I
Is there anyone from more recent years that we need to look at?
Paulo, Mobley. I had Paulo, Mobley, threw Brandon Miller and Amen Thompson for fun. I think it's too early.
Yeah. I feel like there were I was tempted with like Scoot, Brandon Miller, Amen Thompson, but I feel like there were so many, and maybe that's just a symptom of being as in the weeds with it as we are, and them being so recent that. But it felt like there were a ton of major questions and kind of red flags with them.
What if we just do Anthony Edwards versus Michigan State as a prospect?
No, I love Ant, but
I
that
couldn't have him in, but
he couldn't.
But what about if we just had the one versus Michigan State?
You mean just the second half too? Because that first
the
half was
second
rough.
half versus Michigan State. I think that's a top 15 guy. I mean, Rubio, you had a good little.
Yeah,
Rubio shout out's really good.
His scoring numbers are pretty rough, though. I just pulled him up, but the defense and the playmaking with him, he was there. There was a cult like following around him at that time, and God, Timberwolves fans adore that dude.
I had Bogut down because he was one of the clear. You don't remember how good he was.
Yeah.
Sophomore year, he averaged 20 and 12 with 2 assists and almost 2 blocks a game on 62% and almost 70% from the free throw line, which was like, dang. At Utah too, like it was just, I had him as like you clearly forget how good he is.
Let's go John Wall at 24. Okay. Let's go John Wall at 24. I do think I'm focusing a little too much on the efficiency stuff and forgetting what type of movement and just the attention he captured. He was a lot of fun. Him and Boogie on that team were incredibly fun.
Give me some names I might have missed. Like for 25, let's make it, hey, they got to earn this. I can't do Wiggins. You're not going to get me on Wiggins. I know. Don't
I get it
with Wiggins.
I really liked him coming out, but and you know, I think he's at least worth an honorable mention. He was getting, you know, Maple Jordan comps, not rightly again, but so Ricky Rubio, Jay Williams, Chris Paul, Jabari Parker, Andrew Wiggins, Darko Milicic, Chris Bosh, Emeka Okafor, Andrew Bogut, Joakim Noah, James Harden. His numbers were ridiculous going back to Arizona State, but I feel like he's another
Harden's
one of these guys
a good one though. That's a good wild
like,
card.
are we sure? DeMarcus Cousins, Joel Embiid, Karl Anthony Towns, Lonzo Ball, Jason Tatum, DeAndre Ayton, Ja Morant, RJ Barrett, Anthony Edwards, James Wiseman, LaMelo Ball, Jalen Green, Evan Mobley, Paolo Banchero, Scoot Henderson, Brandon Miller, Amen Thompson. Should we go Paolo?
I don't know. Ja's a really good wild card. I didn't think of Ja.
He was insane at Murray State.
24, 5, and 10.
Yeah.
24 and a half, 5.7 rebounds, and 10 assists with almost 2 steals a game, 49, 36, 81.
What do you think his assist rate was that sophomore year?
I think you can't look it up. I think it just says error.
51.4.
Oh my gosh. That's what I need to do probably next week. I remember Jaws film was just one of those, like, you were just constantly ready for him to just destroy someone.
Yeah.
He's just detonating on everyone, and then he was just throwing like gorgeous dimes. That's a good one. You mentioned somebody else. Harden's a good one. I didn't think of. I don't think we could go too recent because there's just so many good older. No, but we're talking about these guys as prospects. I don't think Paulo gets up there with some of the other guys. Like, I think Morant, for me personally, would have been above Paulo.
Okay.
10 assists.
Yeah.
With 24. Like, those numbers are ridiculous. And he's only soft. Big thing too is like, how young were you as a prospect? He was still a sophomore. What other names stand out to you? You rattled off a lot of good ones.
And some of the older guys, like I feel like people forget how dominant Joakim Noah was at Florida
Yeah.
because he stayed that extra year or two to go back to back with those guys. The defense, the IQ, the feel was insane. Uh, Chris Bosh on that Georgia Tech team. I don't think they
Boss
made the
is a good
tournament,
one.
but he was whew. And like going back and watching his film again, it's like, oh, this is what every modern big does now. And he's already operating in space. The short roll pick and pop, the facilitating out of the short roll, the defensive stuff, the rebounding. He was really, really good.
That's a really good. The Bosch one's one I didn't really think of. He was 15.69 rebounds and 2.2 blocks on 56, 47, 73. 47 was 1.5 attempts per game. I'm trying to find another name that I'm just like, maybe. What are you thinking? What's your heart telling you right now?
I'm probably leaning towards a
Any
mixture
names you're
of
too scared to bring up?
no,
Okay.
no.
No
You?
Anthony Bennett. Whoa! Reaction. Okay.
Little Kwame Evans or Kwame Brown, excuse me.
In this economy, Kwame Evans shout out. Because Cat, I don't think gets the nod because he was
No,
just
because
unfinished.
he was a totally different player then too, and
Tatum wasn't right.
no,
Tatum and Lonzo aren't getting included in that.
I didn't even
No, Aiton's
include Jalen
not.
Brown on it.
No, you shouldn't have either. I just watched this film and oh my gosh, Danny Ainge and the Celtics need to get an award for that developmental path. Evan Mobley, I don't think's there.
No,
Brandon Miller's not there. We're too young for 24 class. No.
so I would say my top couple are probably Rubio for the vibes, Bosch,
Bosch is a
Joakim
good one.
Noah, John Morant.
Because I'm trying to also say, like, you age measurements. I'm looking at Al Morant's numbers are just like, wow.
Yeah,
They're just out there, humongous. Rubio was
and his scoring
8,
numbers
2,
weren't
and
impressive.
5 with 2 steals. But I also remember people were like, he's the tone setter. Like,
His insane defender, the playmaking with him too was like Steve Nash.
yeah.
And a lot of that carried over before he blew out his knees. And what was it? He was 16. Was it 16 or 17 when he like took over the Olympics for Spain
Yeah,
that one year?
I think so.
I think I might lean Rubio.
I think I'm going to
And
go
that
Morant.
Morant? Okay.
Well, let's just talk it out. This is fun. The Ricky Rubio versus John Morant showdown that everyone didn't realize they needed to end the episode. Okay, so Rubio was a table setter
Yep.
with great international Buzz. What was Rubio listed at? He was 18 when he got drafted. 18.6. 6'4", 180 is what he was listed at.
Morant
8.6 points.
6'3", 175.
6'3", 175 for Morant, and he was 19.8. He was almost 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is 2.6, 2.6, 5.5, 2.1 steals in 21 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's that's a big difference. Per 36, shout out to the folks at Tankathon. Per 36, that would have been 14.8, 4.5, 9.5, 3.6 steals. Kind of in that ballpark with Morant a little bit. I could go Rubio.
Let's go Rubio. Boom. All right, there's 25. All right, so to recap, at 1, LeBron James, 2, Victor Wembanyama, 3, Anthony Davis, 4, Kevin Durant, 5, Luka Doncic, 6, Cooper Flagg, 7, Carmelo Anthony, 8, Zion Williamson, 9, Greg Oden, 10, Tyson Chandler, 11, Derrick Rose, 12, Michael Beasley, 13, Yao Ming, 14, Chet Holmgren, 15, Dwight Howard, 16, Kyrie Irving, 17, Dwayne Wade, 18, Cade Cunningham, 19, Ben Simmons, 20, Blake Griffin, 21, Markelle Fultz, 22, Stephen Curry, 23, Pau Gasol, 24, John Wall, 25, Ricky Rubio. Surely no one will have any issues with this. Names that I considered for my list or had on my list that didn't make it: Jay Williams from Duke, Chris Paul, Jabari Parker, Andrew Wiggins. Now we're just going more chronologically here. Darko Milicic, Chris Bosh, Emeka Okafor, Andrew Bogut, Joakim Noah, James Harden. Highly recommend going up and looking at James Harden's Arizona State numbers. They are wildly fun. DeMarcus Cousins, Joel Embiid, Kat, Lonzo Ball, Jason Tatum, DeAndre Ayton, John Morant, RJ Barrett, Anthony Edwards, James Wiseman, LaMelo Ball, Jalen Green, Evan Mobley, Paolo Banchero, Scoot Henderson, Brandon Miller, Amen Thompson. A lot of the more recent guys in the last couple of years, I think, are more so. I think I slightly considered them more so from like expectations coming out of high school than necessarily coming out of college. But anyone else that you think deserved an honorable mention?
No, I it's funny, when we first started prepping, I like went too far back. So I actually I did another year, and I was like ready to go to war for Kenyon Martin.
Oh, very good.
But then
Very
I
good
was
player.
like, wait, Metcalf, we're only going to 01, right? And then
Yeah.
you're like, yeah. And I was like, dang it. Because I was like, man, everyone's gonna forget how much of a machine he was before he got hurt. But no, I had pretty much the same type of list when it came. You mentioned a lot of the names of guys I was considering. Like, I just take a lot of those younger guys that I'm like, hey, you weren't, I was really firmly not trying to let my recency analysis cloud like how special these past guys were. Do I love Banchero and Amen and Brandon Miller? Yes. Do I still love Scoot Henderson even as a prospect? Yes. He's not in the top 25. These are an incredible amount of talent in here. And you can argue with a lot of these guys. Like, it's just a problem of like where they were. Like, Anthony Edwards was one of my favorite guys to evaluate because it was, you're either in or out. It was a big belief. Like, you either can see it or not. And I was just like, hey, I love him in this class. I think you see glimpses of like, this could be a star. He was not a top 25 prospect.
Yeah.
He became an unbelievable talent. So this is a really fun exercise. I still look at my list. I'm like, man, there's some guys that couldn't make it. But I felt when we were going to get into the depths, it's like, well, you're really arguing now. You're really getting into a tough spot. So was there anyone you were ever like, oh, maybe he could? And then you looked into it and you're like, no. Kevin Love was one for me.
Ooh.
I think Jay Williams was an outstanding shout out by you. I think he would have been a bad man if he didn't get hurt.
Yeah, and there were a couple, like Russell Westbrook or Jaylen Brown, but then it's like, no, not as prospects. Like, those guys were such wild cards and unknowns and developmental projects that at the time, it it would have been, it wouldn't have made sense to make the list. So, if we did, best 25 players to get drafted or something, they'd be more in the conversation because they've had incredible NBA careers. But that was more so, the kind of route. A guy like Brandon Roy, who I
Yeah.
adored, but it's like older guy, awesome game, but no, like really fun player, not worthy of this list. But it's a tough exercise, it's a fun exercise, nice to go back into the history books a little bit. And as you all heard, a lot of these guys were splitting hairs with. They're really close. There are a dozen other names that easily could have made this list. But if you're totally unfamiliar with some of these guys, I highly recommend. The internet can be a wonderful place. Go look at some old basketball stuff. Ignore some of the slop that's on there, and look at some really talented players doing some really fun things. And you can see how a lot of their games have influenced today's NBA as well. So send us your list. Don't just get angry with wherever we put your favorite player. Send us your top 25 instead. But thank you for listening. This was really fun. He is Tyler Rucker. You can follow him at Tyler_Rucker. I'm Tyler Metcalf. You can follow me at Team Metcalf11. You can find all our stuff at NoCeilingsNBA.com, No Ceilings Socials, YouTube, podcast feed, all that good stuff. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to rate, review, subscribe. Till next time, see ya.